In 1625, a highly curious Italian nobleman named Pietro della Valle set out on a grand tour of the Middle East. He was a true traveler. He had roamed Asia, North Africa, and even India. In Damascus, he married an Assyrian Christian princess. And now, together with his wife, they rode horses and camels through the region, accompanied by local guides. But at that time, traveling through this land was extremely dangerous. The Ottomans and the Persians were fighting over Baghdad. Bandits took advantage of the chaos and preyed on travelers. And in those days, wild animals still roamed the area. In short, it was far from safe. So the guides had to be extremely cautious, because anything could appear before them at any moment. On June 18, 1625, when they saw a group of unfamiliar locals in the distance, the guides immediately grew worried, thinking we might be in trouble. They began searching for a place where they could defend themselves. Eventually, they saw some ruined structures far away and took shelter there. Della Valle later wrote in his journal, "To be safe, we went several miles and settled in a small structure next to the ruins visible from afar. One of the guides went to talk to a local leader for their safety, and the group stayed among the ruins for a long time." Naturally, Della Valle did not just sit around. Under the scorching Iraqi sun hot enough to burn human skin, he wandered through the wreckage for days. He saw mysterious symbols carved on the stones whose meaning he could not understand. He became even more astonished when he noticed that the bricks were not held together with lime, but with bitumen. Beside the ruins, scattered across the ground, he found countless broken stones and brick pieces marked with symbols. He even found pieces of jet-black marble, all bearing the same symbols, a shape resembling a pyramid. Della Valle and his wife had no idea what they had found, the remains of one of humanity's oldest civilizations, the Sumerians, the people who invented writing, mathematics, the wheel, and so much more, the pioneers of many of the world's firsts. Meanwhile, the negotiations with the locals were heading toward disagreement, and the guides began to fear that staying any longer posed a great risk. At midnight, they gathered their belongings and fled across the desert. But Della Valle did not forget to take a few clay tablets and some inscribed stones with him. These became the first Sumerian written artifacts to reach Europe. As he traveled home, holding those tablets in his hands and looking at the strange signs on them, what do you think he wondered? Who built these massive structures? What do these signs mean? How did this city come to be in such a state? These questions then take us to the Taurus Mountains. These mountains were so tall that even the clouds could not reach their peaks, causing extremely heavy rainfall. Water flowed down from the mountains into rivers, and the rivers fed the Great Plains. These two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, joined together to form Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers. The small crystals from the mountains, forming the dust we call silt, were carried by the rivers and made Mesopotamian soil one of the most fertile on earth. Yet at the same time, the region appeared unbearably hot, arid, and unwelcoming, a place that did not seem suitable for civilization. But 13,000 years ago, people discovered something. When you bury seeds in the ground, they grow again. This was the beginning of agriculture. People settled in these areas, and villages emerged. Later, these communities gradually moved down into southern Iraq, the land of Sumer. Although we do not know exactly who they were, today we call them the Ubaid culture. Following the river southward, they experimented with growing date palms and other plants, and learned how to cultivate them. They discovered how to dig canals, turning vast deserts into agricultural fields. The Sumerians built their cities on this land enriched by agriculture. Especially in the muddy, marshy regions of the south, their settlements rose. They built their houses with tall wooden supports and constructed massive rectangular structures. And thus, Mesopotamia became the homeland of two great peoples, the Sumerians and the Akkadians. Throughout history, they became so intertwined that one story cannot be told without the other.